Hello everyone and welcome back. I'm Juhli Leman and I'm so glad you're here with me again for another step in our journey to self-discovery. It is now podcast number 6. And then that's more to explore to help us better understand ourselves. So in our last episode, we examined our many different voices that we were using. And mostly we were not so much aware of why. But today we are examining how we can create a new identity for ourselves by concentrating on our authentic self, which we can learn to love when finding, recognizing, and accepting our inner child. As we already understand, our ultimate goal is to preserve a mindset of ease. It is a state we can trust and accept ourselves and to see who we are. Letting go of what holds us back from being happy is what we need to strive for. When we reach this state, we should feel whole, like being where we feel so much at home, well, where we belong, where we find peace and love. Yes, a state where we can trust ourselves and let go of fear so that love can just flow in. So then we need to address our concerns first and then rise above. To flourish happily, a steady mood with no ups and downs is needed. And to feel great, a desire of working together with mind and body is necessary. To reach these wonderful results, more work to bring our different parts and components together into a working whole will make it all happen. So we must reach our true, authentic self to be able to reach our goal. Now, how do we find our authentic self? We know that we have to accept all our neglected parts, as we termed it our neglected child. How do we know our authentic part then for ourselves? At first, what does it mean to be authentic? It is a release from our false self by finding our own peace and welcome love into ourselves. And to describe being authentic, we can consult a dictionary, which explains it as meaning to be just trustworthy, dependable, and truthful. So these personal traits are very difficult to achieve, though. So then we must recognize them at first, and then try to understand why we need to acquire them for our wellness. Following this realization, the only way we can stay true to these traits is to follow a rigorous work schedule, to eliminate following traits that impede staying with our aim to be truthful and authentic. To desire to better ourselves and follow through with what is needed to reach our aim is very important. Also, it means that we have to integrate all our parts to make us whole. We now know that we must like our neglected child by being nice to it, meaning to always watch out for it and not to insult it and criticize. Well, it means to always watch for a positive mindset. When practicing this, we balance our different mindsets we can find ourselves in. Suggesting a way to keep to our goal, we can practice mindfulness. Mindfulness can be as simple as engaging in breathing exercises or guided visualizations and meditation. It all will regulate the nervous system where stress can be reduced. Centering the mind and emotional resilience is also a very helpful tool we can use. Emotional resilience is helping us to bounce back from adversity. Additionally, we can check our irrational thoughts and replace them with constructive ones. Also seeing challenges as an opportunity rather than an obstacle will help us along. And last, it is best to look for stronger social connections that can enrich us and bring us comfort. We can now imagine what life can be like without our usual ups and downs, and instead have what we didn't dare to wish for ourselves in our dreams. So when we can get close to our true selves, we can create this new identity for ourselves that will change so much for us. Then, to get to our self-care back again, paying attention to our habits by practicing much self-reflection is a good idea. So to remember is that authenticity frees us from the burden of pretense and criticism. So now going back to our self-awareness again, it is the foundation of our personal growth. Self-awareness lights our path with insights and understanding, so we can be more in tune with our bodies and heart. Going back to how we will construct our work towards reaching our goal, we have many possibilities to choose what works best for ourselves. There's always our reflections that are so important to us. We should always try to take time for them. Maybe we can find some exercises beneficial to us for ourselves. For instance, sometimes sitting quietly by ourselves and closing our eyes, trying to notice what arises without any judgment, may give us something to go on when we are finding out new things for ourselves. We can do this more often over time, and we may create a pattern that is helpful to us to integrate all our parts. Further, we should stay in the present time and rid ourselves of unresolved past events. Watching if our behavior is good, we can rid ourselves of what is hurtful to us. We can reevaluate our situations around us and notice any problems coming up that are troublesome for us. Noticing what can be changed in our environment or in ourselves, and find the motivation to follow through with our plans is always a good idea. Self-care will be a steady practice that should be with us at all times. We will have many stresses to get rid of. We then realize that our subconscious will take much away from our awareness, and then we may struggle a little more. But now, working towards our goal, we should already understand what we need to do. We already know more what we need to reach for our happiness that we are looking for. We see now that there is a certain truth we need to reach. It may be harder than we think to find this inner truth, but it will happen if we can determine more of what we personally like and always wish for ourselves. We are not speaking about anything that has material value, but only what is providing us with increasing wisdom and understanding. Mental well-being is not about perfection. It is about presence, balance, and kindness. The immediate work on ourselves will be harder because we are going through a learning cycle, and it will get easier over time. Once we establish our patterns to be more positive, we can see much more what needs to be done. Also, our fears will still have much power over us until we find our right way to overcome this. We will need to try all of the exercises mentioned to help us on our way. As a closing thought, we need to at first stay away from harming ourselves. That is very important. Using critique on anything we do and towards us, ourselves personally, will hurt us very much. A no harm message is the most necessary practice we need to follow, always. Otherwise, it will negate any other positive moves we have already made towards improving ourselves. The hurt we experience can be in our psyche or body, which of course will not improve our health. So again, the practice of mindfulness will help very much to keep us on staying right. So now, looking ahead, our next episode will be podcast number 7. It will be about building meaningful connections. It is about understanding our need for connection at first, and then how we perceive humanity and learn to relate well with others, with respect and courtesy, of course. Further, what is the role of trust playing in getting the connection we like? Also, we need to understand our boundaries, sensitivities, and our communication style. Thank you very much.